if you're into retouching, then this one's kind of key. It has to do with the Puppet Warp tool, and I've covered the Puppet Warp tool in different videos on here. But so I'm not just going to show you how to use the Puppet Warp tool, but I want to show you kind of the key to making it really work. So what we're going to do here is if you look at his arms, see, I kind of wanted symmetry here. His one arm is up a little bit, and it kind of slants downward here, and this arm is down a little bit. So what I want to do is bring it up. Okay, the Puppet Warp tool is a great tool for that. You just come under here to the edit menu, go down to Puppet Warp. But here's the thing, and here's the main tip that I want to give you with this, and then we'll go over where it comes in handy. Is before you do Puppet Warp on a layer, go up to the Layers menu, go down to Smart Objects, and convert the layer to a smart object first. Okay, you're going to see why this happens in a second here. But now we're going to go to Puppet Warp. We'll go edit Puppet Warp. And the way I use this is I kind of just drop points on like hinge points, just places where things would turn, wrists, ankles, elbows, shoulders, places like that. And then what that'll do is when I can click on a point here and I can start to move things, you'll see how it pivots on those points. I'll usually drop a point right in the middle just to lock it down there too. But now you can see I can click and I can start to raise this up. Maybe click over here on the shoulder, bring it down. All right. And click over here, maybe bring this down just a hair. What a lot of people don't know is you can click on one point, and then if you hold down the shift key, you can click on another point. All right, and I don't want to do that in this case here. Let me just escape out of that. In this case here, I really just want to click on one point here, and we can move that around and just go for the symmetry. And I do this a lot with retouching, just very, very minor types of moves and changes with the Puppet Warp tool. And that, when I first saw it, I didn't really think much of the tool because all I saw was crazy uses like moving an elephant's trunk or curving a road or something like that. And I think that gets a little bit specialized, but I think things like this become a lot more useful. All right, so we're done. We're going to click this check mark up here, but I want to show you why this is such a key tip for using the Puppet Warp tool. If you'll notice, because we converted this to a smart object before I actually went in and used it, when I actually use it, it tells me that it's a Puppet Warp smart object layer. So this is like a smart filter. All right. If you've never used smart filters before, the whole point to it is now that I've applied it, I can do one of two things. I can either come over here, click the little eyeball icon, and just turn it off. Decide at a later date that I don't want it on anymore. So just click that little eyeball and turn it on and off. You can kind of see him do the cha-cha there. He's kind of moving back and forth. But the other thing is I can double click Puppet Warp. It goes right back into Puppet Warp mode. So now if I ever didn't get it right, because sometimes when you do things like this, sometimes it has to sit for 5 or 10 minutes. And when you come back to it, you look at it, you're like, oh, that's not quite right. And I need to come back and I need to fix it. Well, now I can fix it. Not only can I fix it and get back and move kind of in a non-destructive way, so I don't have to remember where it went back at all. Everything is set up for me, but I don't have to drop the points down again. It's remembered the whole Puppet Warp mesh that I created the first time, so now I can just come in here and just kind of change it all over again. So there's kind of a couple of tips here. The one tip is using Puppet Warp for retouching, which again we've covered in videos here, but the other one is convert it to a smart object layer. I'm not all about non-destructive. I'm destructive in many of the things I do in Photoshop. This is one of those cases where I think doing it non-destructively is much better in the long run, because now you can always come back, you can always change it. And it's one of those things where you probably may want to come back and change it one day, and you'll be happy you did it as a smart object layer.